Sacco and Felice, New York and New Jersey's premier attorneys at law. Their team brings decades of experience across a wide range of practice areas. Whatever life brings, they're your legal team. From everyday matters to complex cases, they've got you covered with the experience you need and the results you want. Because when life gets complicated, they make it simple. SaccoFelice.com. SACCOFILLAS.com. 2 C's, 2 L's. Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi. Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
All right, so big happenings in California last night. So you guys know that I've got a bunch of folks in California, but my favorite, our girl, is Elizabeth Barcohana, who I met at the Republican Jewish Coalition dinner years and years ago in Wisconsin, right before President Trump was nominated as our presidential nominee. And she's terrific, Elizabeth. She called into this show about 2 weeks ago. So I texted her a little after 2 a.m. this morning, California time. I was not expecting to get a text back. Literally 2 seconds later, she texted me back. I said, did Steve Hilton win? That was my way of making sure she was still awake. So here she is, just after 3 a.m. locally in Los Angeles to help us with what's going on in California, the great Elizabeth Barcohana. Liz, I don't know if you are representative of a lot of Californians, but you are still up in the middle of the night. Would you say that a lot of your friends and people that you talk to are doing the same thing?
I think little by little everybody's been going to sleep, but I think some of us are still up.
It is a big deal. That's how big it is. After 3 o'clock in the morning, some of you folks, including you, Elizabeth, are still up. And look, we wanted the same thing here. We wanted Spencer Pratt to make it to the runoff for the mayor's race. We wanted Steve Hilton to make it to the runoff for the governor's race. And it looks like both of those things are going to happen. Now, all the votes are not in yet. They're about 60% counted. But it looks like both Pratt and Hilton are in great shape to move to November, yes?
Yes, that's what we're seeing. So in the mayor's race, it's a nonpartisan race, which means that if Karen Bass had gotten a majority of the vote tonight, then she would have won and there would have been no runoff in November. So going up against an incumbent is very difficult, and so it's a great result that Spencer was able to force a runoff. And part of that also was because Nithya Raman, who is the DSA progressive council member that we have in the city council in LA, she ended up challenging Bass at the last minute and ended up splitting the vote on the left, and that also contributed to us having a runoff now.
It looks like a solid second-place finish here for Spencer Pratt. In fact, in today's New York Post, out early this morning, just after 5 a.m., he's already talking about his strategy to beat Karen Bass come November. So it looks like it will be, in fact, the incumbent Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt. The governor's race also, looking at these numbers, about 60% in, Elizabeth, and you're out there again. Looks like Tom Steyer is in a distant third. So Becerra and Steve Hilton, that looks like the big matchup coming up in November, yes?
Yes. So the big headline out of the governor's race is this is the first time in 20 years that a Republican has finished first in the governor's race. And so not all votes have been counted, so we still have a ways to go. But it's election night, and everyone went to bed with a Republican in first place, and that is really exciting. It means that change is, possible in California, that people are ready for a new direction. That right now, a majority of Californians believe that we're moving in the wrong direction. So, that opens up a path for, beating this one-party rule that we have here that has given us horrible results. Maybe now the voters are finally ready for change.
Oh, my God, I hope so. And, of course, you have to date back to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and his name kept coming up last night. Steve Hilton brought him up a bunch of times. He may have been wearing an Arnold jacket. I don't know, but that was the last time that a Republican won. And, You know, for me back here in New York, and again, this is Elizabeth Barcohana. She's still up. She's been up all night watching these mayor and governor results. It's just after 3 a.m. in Los Angeles. She's a real trooper, this kid. You know, this gives people like me hope in New York because we've got this DSA, Democrat, disgusting anti-Semitic mayor in Mamdani. The governor, Kathy Hochul, is really not much better. In fact, she's right there with him. So if, in fact, these results come back the way it looks like now and both Pratt and Hilton have a chance to win in November, and if one of those guys, if not both, actually wins in November, that gives places like New York, which is dying. It is dying a little bit of hope. So it's not just you guys out there, Liz. Maybe you guys will set the pace for the rest of the country.
I've been saying that all day, that California is going to set the tone going into the midterms. And, we looked at what happened to you guys in New York as a cautionary tale. We took very seriously our mayor's race, and we made sure that we kept out the DSA candidate, Nithya Raman, again, who at first we thought was like a Mamdani 2.0, and she is in her policies, but she does not have the personality or the charisma or the campaign that Mamdani was able to wage in New York. And the other difference is that you guys had Eric Adams, your incumbent, and the establishment in New York abandoned him. In California and in LA in particular, the establishment did not abandon Karen Bass. Gavin Newsom, supported her, and the party endorsed her, the unions endorsed her. So she had a lot of infrastructural support. But Spencer Pratt has the support of, the moms, the dog lovers, the business community, all kinds of different minority groups like the Hispanic community, the Korean community, the Jewish community. So there is a lot of enthusiasm for Spencer, and we saw it in the early vote in particular. There was an excitement to vote early in California, and especially among Republicans, that we had never seen before. So this is going to definitely reverberate around the nation, and you're going to see it in the headlines today.
Agreed. This is our good friend, Elizabeth Barcohana. She's terrific. She really is. And you see her on Fox News quite a bit, on this show quite a bit. Lovely young lady. All right. So, you mentioned Eric Adams. It's funny. He was hanging out with my friend Bruce Blakeman. He's running for governor here in New York yesterday. And I called Bruce to caution him because you're right. The party did abandon Eric. But, Eric did a lot of stuff that to this day is still very questionable. And at one point, he had nobody, no Republicans, no Democrats. I mean, it's very, very strange for an incumbent to drop out of the race. Now, he's going to blame Joe Biden and, oh, my God, the DOJ came after me. That's a bunch of nonsense. The truth is, for the better part of 3 years after the war started in Israel and all the issues we had here, you had a corrupt police department, a corrupt administration. He blew it. He was bad. He was a terrible mayor. And I would caution Bruce Blakeman, be careful. I know he's got money people behind him, but be careful. He's not a popular guy. So you're right about Eric Adams. Let me get to the meat of this. I'll let you go to bed here, Elizabeth. Again, it's just after 3 a.m. in Los Angeles. I know you know Spencer Pratt. You have spent time with Pratt the last couple of weeks while he was campaigning. If you sat down with Spencer Pratt today, what would be your advice moving forward in his attempt to beat Karen Bass come November?
I have no notes for Spencer Pratt. I have never seen a politician. I mean, he's not a politician. That's part of why he's so successful. But I have never seen a politician as skilled as he is, especially when he deals with media. The people around him are incredibly talented. They have dealt with every issue flawlessly. I have no criticisms of him at all whatsoever. What we do need to focus on is competing with the Democrat machine's ground game, and that means ballot harvesting. And I think everybody is on the same page now about that. There has been a really big resistance to that. When Rick Caruso ran 4 years ago, he dedicated no resources to that. And even today, he voted today on Election Day, whereas Spencer Pratt voted like weeks ago by mail. These are systematic changes that need to be made in order for us to win elections. And it's not just that need this kind of reprogramming. It's everyone who doesn't really understand how the party machine works here. The unions they pay their union members to go out and canvass all the time, not just during the election. And then once they get to, the election, they've already knocked on that door that they're going to many times. And so the next time, when the ballots are out and they knock on the door and it's a familiar face and they say, hey, do you need help with your ballot? Can I help you return it for you? It's much easier for them to harvest ballots this way, and it's legal. And up until now, Republicans have not really developed a ground game for that, but that is now starting to change, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think Spencer Pratt and his campaign understand that as well, especially because we saw such a pathetic turnout in this primary election. He's losing right now. He's down by, 30,000 votes or something like that the last time I looked at it. 200,000 at least Republicans did not vote in this election. Okay. So just us alone could have helped it, push him over the edge. We certainly have the votes for him to have won outright, with a majority. So we have the votes. We're just not actually getting them in the ballot box. And that's where we fall down. Just across the board, and the campaign definitely understands that, and that's what they're going to be building going into November.